Good morning, everyone. Welcome to it's Monday morning. Welcome to Chronically Illing Out. I'm Nick Paro. This is Sick of This Shit Publications, and I'm joined by my friends and colleagues Soso. Good morning, Soso. How are you?
Good morning. I'm okay, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Stephanie and Stephanie Wilson. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing all right. I am looking at a pile of snow outside. That's just about as tall as I am, and which isn't saying much really. And
So, like 2'6" or something.
yeah, something like that. And just trying to get through these really hard times without completely losing it in every conceivable way, in every conceivable place in my life. So this is a good place for me because this is one of my most grounding places and groups.
Good. I'm glad it is because it's Monday and it's been a hell of a fucking weekend and we need grounding right now. And Beth Cruz, good morning, my friend. How are you? Loaded question.
I'm wonderful. In spite of everything, the Hawks won, so go Seahawks. So I'm doing okay.
I don't know who to root for this year. I grew up as a Patriots fan, and I lived in the Seattle area for nearly 10 years. So
It's
gonna be an interesting Super Bowl. If I even watch it. The commercials might be good.
So what I do, I wait for the next
commercials,
day, and then on YouTube, all the commercials come up, and the halftime show and show will be really fascinating. See how the world reacts.
It is. And today, my friends, good morning, everyone. We are welcomed by our friend and community member, and she does her own show, Mind Haven, with Sushi Philiac, is Neurodivergent Hodgepodge. Neuro, good morning. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you with us today. Can you introduce yourself to the community and maybe say what one of your chronic illnesses are, if you are comfortable with talking about any? And we'll jump in and have a great conversation. It's going to be about ableism today.
Hi, good morning. It's great to be here and lovely to meet all of you. Yeah, so I'm a disabled veteran, totally and permanently disabled. TDIU, that means like total disability, individual unemployability. And so that even though I'm only at an 80% rating, it gives me 100% benefits because even though I like to work and can find a job, sometimes I can't keep them because of disabilities.
Thank you for your service. Thank both of you for your service.
Thank you. And I was kind of swept under the rug for a couple decades because I was in for less than a year, just under a year, and I only got like a portion of my GI benefits. And I had these disabilities that include my back. I had herniated disc symptoms in basic training, and I kept repeatedly going to the doctor and being told things like, you have a low pain threshold, or here's a really fun one. One of the doctors said, oh, that's just pain from you getting into shape. And I'm just like, okay, these don't know me. Anybody in my family that I grew up around would have laughed their asses off because I was in multiple sports all the time and I got out of shape in basic training. That's less exercise than I was used to. And anyways, I also have mental health disabilities, which is the majority of my rating, which is major depressive disorder, panic disorder, and CPTSD. Now, there's a difference between that and PTSD. PTSD
Exactly.
is from like a single event, but CPTSD is something that is continuously recurring and in a situation you can't escape from, which, being in the military, that's difficult when you're being mob bullied after military sexual trauma, even not reporting it. So, yeah, it's like, it was a real wake up call for me. Being in the military, I was real naive when I went in, and
How old were you, Neuro, when you went in? How old were you?
18.
Wow.
Mm.
You're still a teenager now. I mean,
Yeah. The brain not even fully developed. And I went in fairly conservative and ever since started drifting left, ever since I got out.
That is a common
Wow.
that I'm going to
Wow.
say this, and this is a minority opinion for some people. Is a lot of veterans are progressive. In fact, a lot of us became more progressive after we got out of the service because
hmm.
we went and explored and saw things and met other people in different cultures. Like going to Afghanistan for me was I met people who had very, very different cultures and I had to interact with them and I learned from them. And I came back less racist than I was when I entered the country. Like I came in probably
Wow.
decently racist. Like I'll admit that to myself. Like I was fueled by the racism. A lot of us were. A lot of us were fueled by the fear, which turned into racism. And I'm okay to admit that I probably said some shitty things when I was a soldier that I would never say now. Like, and I know there was a lot worse things said about these folks and people in Afghanistan and just the Middle East than what I said. And I still hear people use those terms, and it's really disgusting. And so it's. I'm glad you're part of that not minority, the really silent majority of veterans who I think are more progressive than anyone makes us out to be. Also, I'm sorry that you have so many issues and that you've had to deal with all of this, and knowing folks who went through basic training who also got out due to physical or mental issues from basic training. I'll say this is I know how important it is that the military and the government continue to care for those people, for people like you, Neuro, because it is the government's fault. It is basic training's fault that you got hurt in a lot of ways. They don't do things safely at basic training everywhere.
Nope.
And
Eight
they
count
don't
Oh, wow.
get the care you need.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, basic actually wasn't really that terrible for me. It was after in my training schools. Where
Oh, and AIT. What were you? What did you go
Sonar.
in for?
sonar technician, and
Oh, awesome.
it's having a security clearance and learning classified stuff. I couldn't even use stuff I had learned in the workforce.
Yeah. No,
You may not know this, Neuro, but we really just came to interview your dog, which is behind you.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I just want to pet your dog. Go ahead.
Funny, when I watch the live streams, if it's new faces, he's not that into it. But when he sees like Nick or Shane, a lot of the times, especially if I'm on my phone and sitting in the chair, he'll come up and he'll like nose the phone and wag his tail.
Oh, I love that.
Repeat faces.
Oh.
I think he's starting to get used to me talking to the computer, because it used to be he would just constantly be trying to climb into my lap. He did a little bit last night.
That makes me
Precious.
so happy.
Yeah.
It makes me so happy. Because I hear, like, I listen to Dana and Lawrence, and Dana's dog always responds to Lawrence, and has that like voice recognition. And it's cool to think that other dogs do that for me. Like, I never thought I'd really be on the radio. Like, that was a hobby that was something that I wanted to do growing up. Like, I applied to Syracuse University, and I didn't get into the program I wanted, but I could have gotten into the communication side. I wanted to do radio broadcasting for their sport, for the college basketball team, because it was my favorite college basketball team. And I was like, oh, I want to go there and do the radio broadcasting. And now guess what? I get to be on the radio. And we're on TV now. Hey, TV land.
Yep.
What's going on, Substack TV land?
Oh my goodness.
Or Google TV or Apple
wait,
TV.
wait.
You get to watch us on your big screen now. Hey, welcome to the world, friends. We are a big screen community.
I'm jealous. You guys get heart.
It's
Are you
not
too
working.
close back?
You have to like make your thumbs.
Yeah.
There you go.
You have to have
I
the whole
can't-
butt shape,
It's
like
it's the,
the heart
whole
butt.
arthritis.
There we go.
Unfortunately, I don't have that in my
It's
got
an
it back
Apple
in my
thing for like emojis or emoticons, whatever it is. It's fun. And it's
You
I'm
can be a
glad you're with
Jedi
us.
too.
Yeah. You can be a Jedi. You can have like lasers. There's a party one. I don't know if this will do it. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's a
My computer might be-
There
balloons
was
one. Confetti. Yeah.
This is
That's
not a restream thing. This is our Apple. These are MacBooks that do this. So if you have Oh, do you? Oh,
Yeah.
on your top browser on the top, the little camera will do this. Little tech nerd out for a second. There should be a
Fiona,
little camera icon on the top of
go to
your
my DM.
I see it.
click on that, and if you click the microscope next to the word reactions so that it is green, it will turn on reactions for you.
Portrait. Oh.
So if you click
I
just
know
the
that
little icon,
feeling.
not the word, because the word actually brings down a drop down, or you can click on the whole thing, but it
Do you know it?
there you go.
All right.
Sorry,
There we go.
so
A little bit of tech support
Awesome.
for everybody. Yeah, Courtney, it wouldn't be a me show without a little bit of tech support of some sort. So
Yeah.
hopefully everybody gets something out of that. If you have a MacBook and you want to turn on your reactions, that's how you do it. And you can have fun. And it gets like
Fine.
weird when you try and like count with your fingers if you're very handsy when you talk, because then you get reactions that don't fit what you're saying.
I'm
Like I'll be
jealous.
saying I'll be saying something and like counting on my fingers and it'll celebrate, and I'm like, ooh, that was not a celebration.
I'm reversed. Why can I not? Oh,
Ooh,
No,
that reminds
no,
me of
not now.
semiotics.
So we are here, by the way, for everyone in the audience. Thanks everyone coming on in. Welcome. Good to see you. If you are new here, welcome to Chronically Illing Out on Sick of This Shit Publications. We talk about chronic illness, the area around chronic illness. This is a chronic illness community. We talk about ourselves. We talk about how we care for each other, how we care for ourselves. This is not a psychologist community. I will be very blunt. We are not psychologists. Nobody here is giving mental health advice. We're giving wellness thoughts and mindfulness advice. I'm going to make that really clear just so that we don't have any, because there are a lot of folks who come in and a lot of folks who watch our shows. And I just want everybody to be welcome here. This is a community where I want people welcome. Again, be nice in the chats. I will ban people. I do the blockity block if you do some fuckhead things. So please don't do that. We protect our space well, and we protect our health because everybody needs a space that is protected for their mental health. And so to the 215 of you who are in with us on Substack right now, to the other person who's watching on either Twitch or YouTube, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for being part of our space.
Thank you.
Like, it is important to have this space for all of us. So with that said, we're going to be talking about linguistic ableism and word choices and how we approach our own illnesses today and how we approach chronic discussions. And so let's frame our discussion on that. And Neuro, you brought it up a little bit last week about linguistic ableism. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it before we go into all of our opinions on what you see linguistic ableism being, and how you see us using our spaces to help break through and break our own ableist mindsets without like feeling bad about ourselves, without demeaning ourselves or hurting ourselves or beating ourselves up for it in the process.
Okay. First, I want to have a disclaimer. I'm not a linguist. My master's degree is linguistics informed, but I was a ESL teacher, basically. The name of my degree, the program is a mouthful, but you can look it up later. It's TESOL. Anyway, so my frameworks come from more of having like immigrants and people of color as students. And so it's more anti-racist in my training, but disability is something that I've been, researching and studying into on my own outside of academia. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that my frameworks on disability is not academic informed necessarily.
And I think that's okay. I think one of the things I really like about the space that we built before anybody asks any questions or gets into it is none of us are really academically informed on the topics that we are focusing in right now. We're real world informed, we're lived informed. And I think that adds an important layer that academia sometimes leaves out, and we can approach it from our human side. And so we're better humaning with each other. And I think part of understanding ableism, especially ableism in illness for ourselves based on our own experiences, is just as important as academic saying, hey, use these words instead of these because they're more important or they're less harmful. But we can go, well, that's not true, or yes, that is true, because there are words that academics see as really ableist, and those in disability communities don't. Like those who are certain things sometimes don't see the same as those who want to try and be too nice about it.
Like, okay, I have a story that matches with this too, concerning a student. But when we say things like fall on deaf ears, that's a bit ableist for the deaf community. It kind of implies that deaf people are incapable of understanding things or has something to do with their behavior, and that's not it. When you could just say it's ignored. So I had a hard of hearing student from Vietnam, and he was retirement age. And he walked all the way to my classes, regardless of the weather. And but the first couple weeks I had him, I couldn't understand him. He was speaking to me at like a regular speech rate that we all speak as native speakers. But I didn't realize that he was deleting consonants and consonant clusters because he couldn't hear them. So he was in a lot of ways self-taught because he taught himself stress patterns by reading the dictionary. And after a couple of weeks, I did finally understand him and realized his language level was well above my class. My class was, late beginner at the highest. And he was definitely at least mid-intermediate. And what is going on with this guy? So I took a teaching pronunciation course, and different professors helped me. One was a phonology, one was a speech pathology, another one was also in phonology, and they helped me put together a packet so that I could tutor him on the side, and it worked. Just with the teaching method that we put together, and teaching him linguistics, which is really unconventional.
Wow.
But teaching him linguistic phonetics, and showing him the diagrams of the mouth and where the sounds are made by the shape of your tongue and everything. And it worked for him. He got to be able to speak intelligibly. He wanted to be able to talk to the grocer at the grocery store. He wanted to be able to, sit at the bar and have conversations with people. And he was eventually able to do that. But yeah,
That's amazing.
falling on deaf ears, something like that impacts the deaf community.
That story's really amazing.
Yeah.
It also touches home a little bit to me. We have dealt with where you mix up all the words with letters in the words.
Dyslexia.
Dyslexia. And there is I'm not comparing it in the same level of linguistic challenge. There is a very interesting linguistic challenge for those who are dyslexic, I've found, because my daughter's dyslexic. And I had to go through a similar process of teaching her how to sound out certain letters more aggressively than she normally would. Like, we spent one time, and she hated me. She didn't hate me. She laughed at me for a while. And then she was really upset that I kept doing it to her. But it was that like grumpy kid upset, like, oh, I don't want to hear this over and over again, was she was having a really hard time forming ooh sounds or aw, like the difference between ooh and aw. And so I made her sit there with her lips pursed, doing a foghorn. And every time I would walk by her, I would be like, foghorn. But we would do it in a way that was nice for her, like made her feel like she knew what she was doing. And I know that's not the same as teaching like all of these different linguistic skills that you went through, but I think there's some similarity in it that allowed me to see like how destructive it can be to assume others learn either the same as you or in the same styles as you. And it really helped me like address my daughter in her style and like teach her in her style and not mine.
Yeah, it was him too. He when I was done with the practical teaching practicum and had to move on to other things in grad school, he sent me this really lovely email about how I taught him more than anybody else ever could, and how much it helped him, which it was heart melting.
Oh,
Glad that made a difference for him.
that's so rewarding, eh? Like for yourself, that must have been so rewarding.
Yeah, I was really happy for him. You know, I was glad that something helped him, because he'd been going to those community education classes for a while and wasn't properly assessed.
Mm.
No one really stopped. It was a shoestring budget. A lot of the class sizes are huge, and the paid teachers have massive class sizes, but they also didn't really have like a lot of tech equipment. So
Yeah.
I'm not disparaging the program by any means, but there was at least one student that it wasn't helping before.
Steph, I see your comment in the chat. Do you want to comment on that? Because I think that's a really interesting Twyla's word choice that she's talking about and how you used it too for your son, I think is a really important piece of breaking down ableism around deaf culture or speaking about deaf people in an ableist way.
Right. So when he was little, he had ear infections little ear infections all the time, 2 sets of tubes. We'd go to the auto, like people would be like, the doctors would be testing his hearing and be like, I don't know, it seems like he can hear, or teachers would come to me and say, is he having trouble hearing? And, eventually when we learned that when he got his tubes and his hearing was okay, but his behavior didn't change, it became clear that at some level he just chose not what he wanted to hear, what he didn't. So I would just comment, no, he's not, he's hard of listening. He's just not, he's tuning you out, or tuning me out or whatever. And so, while we were, it's really interesting. In kindergarten, when he was in kindergarten, there was a kid who had a cochlear implant. So the entire class had to use a microphone all the time when they were speaking. So this child, whose name I don't remember, could participate in, kindergarten. There was, he didn't know sign. He could actually hear, but it needed to be amplified. And I think that for that class and probably the parents, like understanding that sometimes doing small accommodations can make huge impacts. The teachers came to me and asked about my son's hearing, and when at points it wasn't great, they'd move him to the front of the room where he would be fine. So like, I'm going to switch this a little bit because I don't quite know what to say about the deaf community. I don't know much about it except for that it's a community and there's culture and deaf is a capital D. And but you know, I guess my thought would be that, you know, if you're deaf with a capital D and totally, you know, enmeshed in deaf culture, you don't see not being able to hear as a lack, because it's something that you never had. So
Right.
you go through life in a different way. And I don't know if you all saw that movie Coda,
Love that.
where there was a hearing daughter of deaf family, and she was an opera singer or a singer, and they totally could not understand her. And but they didn't feel like there was anything wrong, but they just didn't get her until they saw that, like, you know, she performed and that everybody was like in awe, and they were like, oh, maybe this is a thing. But I'm totally rambling.
It's okay.
But I guess the point is that we don't know what lack anybody else feels or doesn't feel. I mean, there can be, you know, I have chronic migraines and anxiety and all sorts of stuff, but you know, I think it's really hard for anybody to put. We try. Empathy is a really amazing thing, and a lot of us in this community, I think, have like ultra empathy, which is sometimes problematic because, like, it makes us super sensitive.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, right, like we can, like, I don't know about you guys, I like feel the emotions like rolling off of people, like all the time, and it really impacts the way I feel.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know that a lot of people out there who don't have similar sensitivities have any idea, like, what they're putting out in the world or what it's like to be that tuned in, or
it's hard.
You know, what it's like to be anybody else. And I think we have like extreme empathy, which also makes the world like the world is a fucking mess right now. But also with the ultra empathy, it makes it even harder.
Yeah,
I agree. And sometimes we have, you know, we're all different. As a CPTSD survivor, I have to say that you were trained, I would say, or, you know, you learn to be hyper vigilant. So it's like the hyper sensitivities that were there, like at the beginning, are even more enhanced, and you have, you know, way to react. But not everyone is the same, and we don't have the same defense mechanism. You know, some people will just flee, some people will fight, some people will just freeze, other people will fawn. And I've learned this in an awesome book by Peter Walker called is it Pete Walker? Anyways, from PTSD. No, that's another one. Yes.
Okay.
But I think it's so important for us to acknowledge the way we react, but also to have empathy for others that don't react the same. Because some people will just like go fight. And, you know, and then other people will, well, I'll try to make it better. But then maybe your way that you're responding to the other person doesn't suit their needs. And at the same time, you know, it's creating a lot of tension. And then we use words, and words, you know, they don't mean the same thing for other people. Like it's all in the way we perceive it, interpret situations. So I think that, you know, when you're using words to describe situation, what it means for someone doesn't necessarily mean the same thing for another person. So that's also something to take into consideration when you're discussing, and when you're talking about disabilities where you have, you know, certain, I would say, I don't like restrictions, but challenges, then that adds it more to the complexity, you know. So that's it.
Yeah.
Something you said so really reminded me of, again, I bring my son up a lot. He's a freezer. Like, yeah. When he's in fight, flight, or freeze, when he's overwhelmed, he freezes.
My daughter is the same as yours.
My daughter is the same.
Right? So we had so like there was a situation where he had to take notes, but he didn't have a notebook that was the right color that he wanted. But he didn't want to use another notebook. And so he was frozen for like an hour. I'm like, just write it down. It doesn't really matter. You can rewrite it some other time. And he was like frozen.
Yeah.
And I, like, what am I going to do? I thought I was going to do it this way, but that didn't work. So I can do it this way. But it took him a full hour to come to terms with what it was that he wanted to do. And for me, that was like a no-brainer. Like, one thing doesn't work, you try another. But for him, it was really, really hard. Yeah. And that was I can usually get him, but that was a time when I was like, what? Like, I do not get this. So like, it's really hard if you have a different kind of response, if you're a fighter or a fleer or a, problem solver or a dysregulated person who's learning to regulate. I mean, like, all of that it's really hard to understand one person to
or
another.
having mixed responses like me. I don't know what's going to happen, whether I'll fight, freeze, or fawn or flee. I don't. So yeah, it's getting easier. But going out in public was challenging for me because I was always scared that something might happen to trigger me, and I didn't know what would happen after that. I used to be primarily like flee or freeze, maybe fawn, but as I got older, fights started coming out. Like, and that was usually just if I was sleeping. I tell people, if they gotta wake me up or something, don't touch me. I'll come up swinging and not even be awake. And that comes from being beat in my sleep in the Navy. Sorry if anybody's triggered. I should have done trigger warning. I know better. But yeah, we're starting to get into the territory of brain shaming here, and that spans across not just cognitive and intellectual disabilities, psychological disabilities too. And we hear all the time, every single day, if you took a notebook and wrote down every time you heard one of these ableist terms like stupid, crazy, or some people will even just say mentally ill when they're talking about an evil behavior or some sort of societal behavior, when it's not the psychology necessarily. I mean, it does play a role, but we treat it like it's synonymous with evil or incompetent, and it's not. Those things can coexist, but they're not.
And it's so destructive, to just think that that's evil, like labeling those labels that it's just things that are so misunderstood. Like, right away, I don't know, but I'm just thinking of schizophrenia, back then, if you look at many, many years ago, and sometimes I think even nowadays in certain places where there's not enough education, and they would look at somebody who was schizophrenic and say like, okay, the devil is taking over his body, and it's like, whereas the person is really suffering because they're suffering from delusions. I mean, they have like unrealistic thoughts, and then they're suffering from hallucinations where they really hear noise or see things, and it must be so difficult to be in that context where even the context is not responding well, because of lack of awareness and knowledge, I would say.
Especially since it's so highly stigmatized.
Yeah.
You look at, I'm going to go into semiotics here, but even stuff that's supposed to be accommodating can be ableist, like the disability sign. Why is it ableist? It shows a wheelchair. It reduces disability to being in a wheelchair and kind of erases all others. And especially when it comes to disorders of the brain, which are mental, neurological, cognitive, intellectual. And disability is the only community that anybody can join at any time, whether they're born into it or it's acquired later. Anybody. And also, even if you have disabilities, you are ableist. I'm going to say that. Like, I am ableist about some things and I try not to be. I'm working on it, and it's going to be a lifetime process, just like being anti-racist. There's a lot of unpacking, and I'll catch myself sometimes, be like, whoa. But I try very, very hard to be mindful of my language, not just because of how it impacts me, but how it impacts other people in the disability community. So, I try not to use words like crazy or lame, for example.
You know what?
Yeah,
Neuro,
I've gotten
I
like
actually
lame is done.
go ahead,
But
Stephanie.
crazy, I still use crazy, insane, bonkers,
Mhm.
bananas. Like I haven't given those up, but lame, it's so much part of our language. I mean, I haven't used lame in a really, really long time, but there's some things that we don't even think about. It's like anti-racism, where we don't necessarily think about, or homophobia, or all sorts of things where we don't necessarily think that what we're saying is impacting somebody, but it is.
And
Could
so,
I,
go ahead.
I was going to jump in and say, Monica is asking, does anybody else flee, freeze, or fawn, but get wildly triggered by fight? Yes. Yes. I think when I was younger, I was the fighter. I was the protector. I was the one on the playground that people would come get if somebody was picking on somebody. And now I flee. It's at 57, I'm just like, no, I'm out. I can't even. And I just don't know if it's just where we're at with everything every day just being so awful in the news and everything, but I find it's at my age I'm more willing to run, which is strange. I just protecting the peace at all costs now, if that
I
makes
get
any sense.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think one of the things that we as a community of super sensitive people forget to do is turn off the new, like give ourselves the bubble that we need,
Mhm.
because if it's coming at us all the time, then like it's really hard to function.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's
Especially
really draining.
if you've been that go-to person, if you've been the one that's the caregiver, the take care of people, and burnout's a real thing. It's yeah,
Absolutely.
I've discovered that it is absolutely real.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And
you know,
giving
it
ourselves,
usually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nick.
I was just going to say, and giving ourselves the grace to, or just the leniency to relax and let ourselves feel or separate from things. Like yesterday, I didn't really touch Substack at all. I released my Lento Vivo for everybody to be able to listen to, my flute trio, after hitting our
Beautiful.
250 paid sub mark, which is awesome.
Oh.
Thank you, everyone, for being such a huge
Getting the
part
link.
of making this possible. And I took that as a chance to just get away, for like protect my space, because I spent 4.5 hours watching the video and spreading awareness around the video of Alex Pretty being murdered on Saturday.
Huh.
Like,
Yeah.
I broadcast that video
I don't know how
over
you did
and
that.
over and over, and I was live on it and reported on it, and I needed a break. I still do. Like,
Mhm.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
But I'm here because for me, this is one of my safe spaces. This is a space that I've created that is safe for not only me, but also for those who come in and discuss in the chat, and who my friends here on the live. Like, this is a safe space for us. And I think we all fight to protect that space together.
Mhm.
And I think we need to continue to fight together to protect our space and move forward together and protect our space, and stop hurting each other, and hurting ourselves, and let ourselves remember that we might be at fault for things, even if we don't realize it. And that's okay. Like I said in the chat, you didn't know before, now you do. Like Elizabeth Raven said, you're learning, now you know. And like I said, we are learning, we now know, so we now grow. So when we know the difference, like, I'm going to be conscious of using the word lame. Like, I'm not going to use that, as I'm going to make the conscious decision if I still have been using it. I don't even know if I do. But it's like the conscious decision when I discuss the weakness of men, and like I go after other men, because I can be a fighter, as calm and as soothing as my voice can be. When I get mad, I can, like, when I get really into an issue, I fight for it, and I fight for what I believe in, and that's why when I talk about the weakness of men and fragile masculinity, I refer to men by male body parts and not by female genitalia. I don't call men pussies. I call men testicles, penises. I do things like that because, one, it's kind of funny. Because how lame is it to be compared to a penis? Like, how lame?
Lame.
He said lame.
Shit, I'm so sorry.
No, I just wanted to call you on it and just like
You're right. You're
just
right.
make you
You're right.
aware
I
of
didn't
it.
even hear it because it's so natural in linguistics. Is okay. How shitty is it to be called a penis? Like, how shitty is it to be called a taint or a testicle? Like, everybody knows those are weak. They're ugly. Whatever most people said across across history. Like, I've heard growing up and from women in college and from women as adults and other men is penises are ugly. Okay, so I'm going to compare Stephen Miller to a penis. Why would I compare Stephen Miller to something that gives birth to somebody that can take a pounding and get back up? Like,
I didn't want to mention him, but I was actually thinking about him like Dighead, you know.
he does.
And
If he did the tonsure haircut rather than being bald, he would look like an uncircumcised penis. Like, sorry, facts are facts, dude. Like, you're just a walking penis.
Just
And
bringing truth today. Just
bringing truths, dropping knowledge. And thank you, Steph, for calling me on the word lame. I think it's really important because I said I was going to listen to it, and then I went and I just didn't even hear myself.
It's so integrated, and that's what language is a behavior, but it's also, it becomes habit. You say a lot of things without really having to give it any thought until somebody points it out.
But thanks to Nick, my dog Bentley was called a testicle when he took my chair the other day.
I generally like I
Oh.
started in this sense, a long time ago I started, talking about when people have strengths, they have the ovaries to do something, which I'm sorry for people whose ovaries are no longer functional like mine or have been removed, but like those are fucking strong things. I even mention it like, how some people say, women have balls. No. Okay. But I even
Vaginal fortitude versus testicular fortitude is like a real thing. Like, testicular fortitude is you get touched and you fall over because they're weak. Like, every single man knows this. Like, you get kicked in the balls and you were just this puddle of just. But I've always been told, like, if you kick a woman right in the vagina, it's not going to hurt the same way as if you kick a man in the balls. Of course not, because our shit is soft and weak and breaks. Like, I'm sorry, men are the weaker.
Welcome, Neuro.
Welcome, Neuro, to our ridiculousness.
Welcome.
Men are the weaker gender, and that's okay. And I think part of ableism, in my mind too, is actually being able to talk about that. Is being able to say men are the weaker gender. We may be physically stronger in many ways, but in so many others, we are so much weaker. And that's okay.
Conditioning.
We just need to grow.
That's because of social conditioning.
Yeah.
Especially millennial and older, is we were all brought up that boys were limited to certain emotions that were acceptable.
I'm sorry, the chat is going wild, so I'm just being distracted. Sorry. Good to laugh.
Oh my goodness.
And I know my mom's in the chat too, so this is even more fun. Like, I love being able to do this and realize that, like, grow what? Well, you ain't gonna grow the thing that just got kicked. So we learned to grow language. I think one of those things too is like what you were just saying. Sorry to interrupt. Was the like it's important that we discuss this too in a way that it's not derogatory about men. I'm not saying being the weaker gender is a bad thing. I'm saying we're the weaker gender because, just like you said, we've been conditioned not to speak about our emotions, not to be in touch with ourselves or care about ourselves or care about anything outside of just what we define as masculinity. Like, we have this narrow definition that men have to fit in or they're not masculine. And then we ableize, or we use ableist language for masculinity and the patriarchy to defame everybody else. And I think it's okay that we admit that we have some space to grow in those areas, and we need to do it on purpose.
I think we should take a moment to thank Nick's mom
Yeah,
for bringing
everybody in the
for
chat is
bringing a
saying thank
good
you.
human. Thank you.
Thank
for
my
bringing
dad,
a good
too.
Human.
My
I'm not
dad
even-
is a
Thanks, Dad.
huge part of it.
It is true
Not
that
in the chat.
Oh yeah, he was
it's
there,
the
right?
it's the male Y chromosome that, or yeah, it's the Y chromosome that decides, like, remember in the past they thought it was the woman's fault because they wouldn't get a son, right? But it was actually the male anyways cell that would, or was it, yeah, that would determine if it was going to be a boy or a girl. So yeah, thank you, Nick's dad, as well.
Can I just call out that we're considering gender a binary here?
Thank you.
And it's not.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
thank you.
um,
Thank you.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
this
I
is
know.
all part of this, is growing it. Go ahead.
We
Nora.
all learn.
So I actually knew an intersex person as the former neighbor a long time ago, in like 2002, something like 2002, and I don't know what pronouns they would use now, but I do remember that they were assigned female at birth and had to have parents made them have surgery as a kid to basically be female, and they later did not identify as female.
Mhm.
And that's where it gets like tricky and complicated, because that was against the kid's consent, right? It wasn't
Right.
what the kid wanted, and rightfully so. That person was very angry about all that, and I see these arguments. We're kind of derailing ourselves here, but I see these arguments about trans kids, and they don't do the surgery on minors. They do maybe puberty blockers, which up
They do
until
on cis kids
age
too.
like 18, 19 isn't harmful. And then the kids still decides at that point, being age of majority, can either go through with it or not. It almost doesn't happen. Who it does happen to are intersex kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about, I think that a lot of us are becoming more and more aware of trans and gender expansive folks, but
Absolutely.
less aware of intersex folks.
Mhm.
And I think that, I don't know, is this the wrong way to say it? They get screwed in any number of ways.
Yeah, erased.
Erased, not knowing like what gender expression, what gender they're going to feel, a mixed medley of different organs. So yeah, and I'm still having trouble. Most of my kids'
His
friends,
sack of organs.
The trans flag, by
I'm
the way.
sorry. I
I love
you
that.
bring
I
it-
love that.
his sack of organs.
So most of my
Go
kids'
ahead.
friends are gender expansive in one way or another.
Mhm.
And there are several who have gone from she to they, them, to they, it, to now he, or from he to they to possibly she, but I don't know if it's she, he, or she, they, and I've known some of these kids since they were really little. And it's, I think particularly for, I can't even talk about millennials because y'all are too young for me,
That's
but
me.
like that's you. It's really hard to that in between space that like my kid has absolutely no trouble. I get corrected all the time because he has a friend who presents largely as female, but is non-binary, and I call them she a lot, and he's like they, you know, like it's sometimes hard to retrain our brains.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I have a daughter whose friend is considering transitioning. And it's kind of, I'm always, I haven't interacted with him for a long time, but, I really try to be careful. But there are issues too with parents, and, and you're like, you feel so like you're not sure where to put yourself because, anyways, there was a huge situation. And I just find it so sad for the kid who isn't understood, like, yeah. Anyways, I'm just looking at the time now.
I did this before I married my ex-wife, who was a trans woman, and she was out to me long before we ever got engaged, but not out to everybody else. And she also identified as butch, which made the cisgenders really confused. But anyway, anytime I even thought the word he, I would say out loud she, her, she, her, she, her, 10 times, and it worked pretty quickly for me. I don't know if that's going to be everybody's fix, but I've also used it for unlearning ableist terms and unlearning terms I didn't know were racist, like Eskimo is racist, so is gypsy. And there are words that are preferred, like Inuit, which is more accurate, and Roma for
Romani for the
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
I've learned a lot about that.
loud 10
difference.
times, if even just thinking the word. And it's like it's a habit. It's a habit you have to change it into another habit.
That's a really good point. No, thank you for saying that.
Mhm.
'Cause
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of us have trouble with that, especially
And
if we're some way neurodivergent. Like retraining that brain is like
Yeah,
sometimes hard.
Yes.
I have to be very
Mhm.
explicit myself. So
Yeah, and I think holding
Yeah.
ourselves accountable on the way we use or learn the words and how we I guess I approach it from the millennial view of I don't care. What not in the way of I don't care about you. It's I don't care what you choose to be as long as you are you.
Mm.
I don't care
Yeah.
because it doesn't impact me negatively in any way. It's not my life. It's not my choices. And if I can learn, if you can say my pronouns, if you can go from I've gone from Nick to Sergeant Paro to Sergeant to
Not
asshole
true that.
to other things to just Paro to Mr. Paro. Like if you can say Mr. Paro, which still feels weird to me
That's your dad,
when
right?
kids say that, because that was my dad. Is if I can learn, if kids can learn to say those things, or if I can learn to call somebody Miss or Mrs. or Mr. or change to use the correct like honorary title for them, I think I can use the right pronoun for them. And like I found that I default to they them for most people until I know otherwise, because it's like that's the general to me it's either it's a general conversation, like if I don't know who you are, they were going somewhere, we were doing this, like I will just remove the gendered term any unless I'm corrected, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do. I just to me it feels more natural to just approach it from I don't know who you are, so I'm going to say they them, and you'll probably end up correcting me anyway. Doesn't matter if you're conservative, doesn't matter if you're progressive, doesn't matter anywhere, because everybody's going to correct you at some point once to say, hey, I prefer this, or I like being called this. Like when people meet me, if they say Nicholas, my first response is, I like being called Nick. That's not the name I prefer. Okay, well, if people can call me by a nickname, I can use your correct pronouns, and I don't have to I don't beat myself up. Is I think the point of it all is I don't beat myself up if I'm wrong. I let myself learn from it, and then I try not to make the same mistake, even though it can be really hard.
Mhm. That's one of the most awesome things about life is learning things. You know, if we're not actively learning, are we even living?
Yeah,
Right.
and
Right.
and with that, Beth, before you, I'm going to cut you off because we're going to hear your voice here in a second anyway.
I know.
Is we're nearing the top of the hour, and we have this amazing meditation to end our show with that we always do. And so, everybody, let's take a couple moments and watch and listen to today's meditation as we dive in for a little bit of time for life for today.
Dive in.
So
Oh.
I'm going to switch us over. Let's see if we can do it. We got almost all of us with hearts except so. Okay, because you don't have a MacBook.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, as we go, thanks everyone for
Sorry,
being with
Dustin.
us. Really enjoyed all the conversation.
you.
Thank you for the lovely chats and comments, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Neuro, for being with
you,
us.
Nora.
We will switch
Yeah, thanks a
over on
lot.
the flip side to make sure that everybody gets a chance to sell themselves. This will also give me a time to make sure I've got Neuro's QR code all set up. So thank you, everybody, for being with us today, and enjoy our meditation for the day as we dive in for some time for life.
Welcome to our Dive In virtual meditation. Join me by taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth. Take another deep breath in through your nose and slowly exhale out. One more deep breath in and slowly exhale out. Imagine that you are swimming underwater alongside vibrant marine life, including fish, giant clams, and all shades of coral growing along the ocean floor. You move through the water effortlessly, your weight supported by the water around you. Relax in the beauty. If you are carrying any stress or tension in your body, allow it to dissolve in the water. Let the gentle current carry it far away from you as each breath causes you to relax further into this ocean journey. Allow the water to bring calm as you move freely and safely in this beautiful and tranquil environment. Your breathing is calm and rhythmic as you slowly make your way through the water. Give yourself permission to relax in this moment, to simply breathe and be. As you move through your day and week, remember that you can always return to this peaceful state at any time you need a moment of calm or stillness. It is so important to remember to take care of you.
as I get us back in here, we've lost Beth for a moment. I'm going to unmute all of us. And I'm going to mute that. Welcome back, everyone. We are in so many weird spots. Oh, no,
I ran to the
someone-
bathroom.
Oh, that was fast.
I'm going to move us around for a second. Okay. So this is the. Oh, we have a repeat going in the background.
Oh,
Oh,
Does everybody have their other? Oh,
Now
sorry.
we should be all good.
Sorry.
Now we are back. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us, Neuro. It has been so much fun to have you with us today, and I'm so glad you made it. And we're able to have this discussion. It's been really illuminating and has given me a lot to think about in really good ways. So,
Thanks
for
having me
anyone
on.
who's not subscribed to Neurodivergent Hodgepodge yet, please do go ahead and subscribe to her. Either hit the Byron in the top left corner if you're on Substack, or scan that QR code for us. So, Neuro, sell yourself a little bit on where people can find you and what you're doing here on Substack.
I'm mostly on Substack. I do also have a handle on Blue Sky and YouTube as well, but I forget to check those. I'm very bad at juggling social media. So I'm mostly on Substack, and I do a lot of blog entries. And the reason I call myself a hodgepodge is because I have multiple and rotating interests. So I might be political for a while. I'll throw out some poems here or there. I might write about protest music or some other kind of protest art. I might even throw up a doodle every now and then. I haven't actually drawn in a few months, so kind of itching to do that now. But anyways, yeah, Substack requires you to have like 2 interests listed. I'm like, whatever, just randomly.
I hear you on that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
my recommendation is to pick something that nobody else picks.
Yeah, so if I actually have been gaining more subscribers and losing, I'll lose one here or there because they, it's not for them or whatever. Like, okay, that's fine. But I just do what I do. So if people want me to write more poetry instead of political stuff, well, my poetry is political too. Even my latest, Just a Piece of Gravel, is a protest poem. But if they want more of that, I'd be happy to do that. I love being creative.
I would be happy if you did poetry. I'll read it too. I like reading other people's poetry on my shows. I think it's awesome, and spreading that awareness and spreading the poetry, because we need more creativity right now. And all the creativity we need creative solutions to a really drastic time. So let's put poetry out there. We need.
Outlets are
Where's
good.
all the music?
I don't do music.
Not you specifically, my
But I was a
friend.
kid, but yeah. I sent you something this morning, Nick.
Oh yeah, I will. You did. I saw that. I'll have to listen into it. I brought that up because I knew you sent me something about music today and where all the
Okay.
protest music is, and I'm glad you did. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so please come support Neuro. She is amazing, and this has been such a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for being with us today. And let's move to my other friends and hosts. Is Stephanie Wilson. Sell yourself, my friend.
Hello, everybody. So I am here with Chronically Illing Out, and I have my focus otherwise is on the context of this moment, choosing freedom over fascism. And I'm on most weeks, Tuesday and Wednesday at 1. Tomorrow, I have a woman named Zara Amanpour on. She's Iranian, and she's going to tell us what's going on the ground in Iran.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not going to be around because I am starting teaching a class on empathy-based leadership. So I won't be here. And Friday, I am on the Anti-Fascist Book Club with Nick and Chris Goldsmith and whoever else comes. And I would love it if you would subscribe or do a paid subscription or even just buy me a coffee. So I will see you all around. I am so glad you all made it. This is maybe one of our biggest crowds ever. And thanks for being here.
Thanks for being with us, Steph. I always love having you. And I'm so glad you're a part of my life and a part of this group.
Oh, thanks. Me too.
So, how about you, my friend?
I'm gonna try to focus because I have fibro brain this morning, but I would like to thank this community for allowing me to basically share my world, which is why I call it Social's World, because I agree with you, Neuro. I like so many things. Like I could just jump from writing. I like to share my photography because for me, hiking and snorkeling when I can't is very important because it reminds me to move. And this is important because otherwise I would just, unmove, which is important when you have fibro. But anyways, I digress just to say that thank you for enjoying the photography. And also, I would like to say, please, this is going to sound weird, but don't become a paid subscriber if you can't afford it. I would like to just please support my friends. But if ever you appreciate what I do and you can't, I'm always grateful. And I also enjoy a nice karaoke challenge. So that is something that I try to do, which is, right now it's more a trial period, but I like singing. So if you want to bring time for joy, which and life, which I will let Beth, my co-host of this new podcast that we have together, explain, because now I've taken too much time. All right. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Sosa. I'm so glad you're here too and part of the community and life. Let me hold on, getting hearts out. And next, Beth, the Possibilitarian's Light. Sell yourself, my friend.
I was just gonna be quick and just say, oop, that's it. That's all. That's it.
Well,
you are a delight.
You are a delight, Beth. Thank you. Please subscribe, friends, to Beth and everyone here. And then finally, come subscribe with me here at Sick of This Shit Publications. Help me continue to build this and grow this amazing community and grow this entire project as we try and create a space for each other and learn and become better humans and do better peopling. And for me, that's helping men become better men and teaching boys and other men that they can do the right thing and do good things and grow from where they are, and challenge their identity that is currently in place, this fragile, toxic masculinity, and replace it with something intelligent. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming to today's Chronically Illing Out. For the almost 650 people here on Substack with us, we are restreaming on YouTube and Twitch. Our primary platform is Substack. To the nearly 650 people with us this morning, thank you. Thank you for being part of our community. Thank you for caring. Thank you for coming and listening to us. Go have a good rest of the day because we are sick of this shit and we're now doing this shit. We're out here doing this shit. So let's go bring some positivity to each other today. Yeah! And let's go do some shit. So thank you all. And we'll be back next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern for another Chronically Illing Out. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.